So if you'd like, we can start.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, let's go for it.
Okay. So first, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, my name is Kawone Medlock.
Perfect. Thanks. So our first question is, tell us a story about where you were when George Floyd's murder was publicized.
I was at home. I just gotten off of work and I was getting ready to relax. And I look at my phone, and Facebook is like blowing up with this video.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was a Thursday, and I watched the video the first time, and I was just like, okay, what? Like, I know this is real, but like, is it real? And I watched it again and again, and just like after seeing it, I was just like, it's a complete shock that this, literally like is happening on a regular basis.
Right. Jeez. And so what, besides shock, was there anything else that you were feeling when you were experiencing that?
I think for me personally, uh, I, I was there was anger inside of me a little bit,
Yeah.
but I'm also the type of person that I'm like, okay, you know, you know, enough is enough. What even for me personally, what can be done? What can I do to help this situation and what we have going on? I think for me, even being a black male, I was like, okay, this is a problem. This is not a problem I personally deal with on a regular basis, but this is a problem. And I felt, honestly, for me, I felt like I could have and should have been doing more and been more active. And I took it rather personal.
Well, thank you. Um, so can you tell us how you feel about seeing white people talk about this movement like it's new?
Um, I'm shocked. Even every day as I get on my phone, and I try not to as much since all this happened, just
Mm,
because I mean that's everything right now. Everything is Black Lives Matter. Everything is just George Floyd, and just seeing people be so insensitive to the situation is what is shocking. I know that white people didn't necessarily care to be bothered with what's going on, but to see people, and so many people, it seems like it because people are constantly posting, to see so many people be insensitive to what's going on, or always, looking to backlash, um, instead of just saying nothing at all. I mean, if you have something negative to say, especially about this current situation, I mean, I feel like it's best left unsaid. But for people to feel so comfortable in their skin and in their white skin, to say the things they are saying, justify and feel like what they're saying is okay, and not care about the others that truly hurt, the people that are actually dealing with what's going on. It's just shocking. It's shocking every day. Someone posts something about someone, saying this, or past photos of things that have taken place. White people per se are doing the exact same things that people of color, and the consequences are just total opposites. It's heaven and earth, so to speak, or heaven and hell. And it's just crazy to see that people are that comfortable.
yeah, it sort of speaks volumes that they're even allowed to say that too. So I feel you.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. And then tell us a story about when you first discovered white people treated you lesser than, or did you always know?
I think, well, I know that I've always known. it was never something that was spoken in my house, like, oh, hey, be careful around white people, or, hey, you're lesser than them, or hey, they think they're better than you. I think it was always the demeanor. And I'm not going to say all, but there's plenty enough out there that will um, non-verbally show you that they're worth more than you, or they feel they're worth more than you. They're not, but they feel that way. Um, and it was just something that was never spoken in my house, but it was something that I guess I've always understood, just like I said, based off people's demeanor and and how they act. And then as I got into like schools, I grew up in like South Dallas and areas like that, and then we moved to Louisville when I was 11, and that was a big change for me. And I specifically remember a story. It was me and three other friends, and we were walking home from playing basketball, and we're walking home, and we're walking down a street in Louisville called Valley, heading toward corporate, and one of my friends was extremely out of shape, so to say. I mean, extremely heavyweight. And the cop pulls over, and he's like, "Hey, I hate to search you guys." We're like, and me, it's tough for me to allow that to happen and not feel anger or put myself in a worse situation. So I'm thankful that my friends were there with me, because I probably would have gotten more trouble. But yeah, he's like, "Hey, I need to search you guys." And I'm like, "What? No." I'm like, "Keep walking." And my three other friends, they stopped. They're like, "Come on, just stop." I'm like, "No, he doesn't have a reason to just stop us and say he wants to search our backpacks." And I'm like, what is your reason for stopping us? And he's like, "Well, there was a robbery 2 blocks over, and three guys ran away with, with jewelry, three black guys." I'm like, cool bus. Unfortunately, if I was going to rob someplace, I'm not going to bring my friend who is incapable of getting away, so to speak. And so I'm a little bit angry at this point. And my friends are like, "Come on, just calm down. Just let him search us." I'm like, "No, no, no." And then finally, they calm me down, and and he insists on searching our bags, and we give him our bags, and we let him search our bags, and he let us go on our way. And I think at that time I had to be 15, 16, and and it was an eye opener. I mean, I still remember that day till this day. How I was walking home from playing basketball and got pulled over and searched on the side of a street. Because three black guys robbed the store 2 blocks over. I'm thinking to myself, who's going to rob a store and then walk down the main street of a city? You know what I mean? Like this, doesn't make any sense. And but I let him search my bags, and he let us our way. It's something that has stuck with me, my entire life.
Yeah, I imagine so. Um, and then, geez, that's ridiculous. And you're right. Like, why, if I robbed a store down the street, why would I choose the most main way to go? Also, so
Right.
it's just an excuse. That's obnoxious. Um, is there anything that because I know you said that you tried to prepare some stuff to say. Is there, I leave this time for you to say whatever you feel like you need to.
It's everybody is putting out, their own ideas and theories about what should happen and what changes need to be made. And I myself have been pondering upon this like for the last week and a half. I don't know if I've done much thinking about anything else besides this, and I try not to let this consume me, because then it just makes it bad. You still have to find a way to push through this and enjoy your life. But I find myself thinking about what can be done, what should be done. And I'm not no politician. I'm not far from a lawyer. I guess what you consider. But I think for me, as I sit down and I think about what can be done. This has been going on for 400 years, And I hear different people say, talk about voting, voting, voting. That's really the main thing I hear. Vote, 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 make changes, but it's not really the president we be voting for. It's like the senators and, all this stuff that honestly, me personally is not educated enough on to speak on. So I kind of steer left when it comes to those conversations.
Mm.
But it's going to take us to not just, protest today and protest tomorrow or protest for the next several days. But I think we as a community need to come together and get more educated, not just on the laws and the policies and how things work, but also on Black history and truly understanding where we came from, and we have to find a way to sustain this energy. We can't just let it flame out once if these four people get prosecuted, because a lot of times we've gotten to this point, and then there's no justice served, or it's like here's 2 years, here's a slap on the wrist. You know what I mean? And so my personal theory, which could be far fetched for most, you know, I believe that right now things are on fire, and I don't personally believe that coming together and trying to change the all the people in office, which could take years and years of voting and actually getting people to listen and understand and come together and make those votes. I don't think that's going to put out a fire, in my opinion. That's going to take a lot of time and a lot of healing to do something of that magnitude. I mean, there's only, I think the U.S. is like 13% African Americans. So I did the math. There's roughly about 40 million people to the 348 million people that live in the U.S. So it's gonna take a lot of effort from all of us. But get to the whole point of this: when we moved the Indians from their land and we stole everything that they have in America. I'm not going to say white people. It was just America in general. I feel like that we compensated for that. I mean, if you go to Oklahoma, I mean, the Indians pretty much own all that casinos, and that's their land. So they're being compensated for what was taken from them, and even by receiving money, grants to colleges and things like that based off the percentage of Indian heritage you are. And I feel like Black people, when we were freed, we were given 40 acres and a mule. I mean, you can look it up.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was all taken back due to war. And then we got some of it back. And then it was all taken back due to the Depression. So all in all, when we walked away free, we were given something, and then the laws were rewritten to say that it was not actually ours in the first place. Like I said, it might be far fetched, but I feel like that we're due some type of compensation. I don't, it might be far fetched to say that, hey, every Black male should receive, 50 grand and 10 acres back. You know what I mean? Or come up with some type of packages that would say, hey, if you don't want the grand and the 10 acres, maybe 80 grand. And, people might say, oh, you just want money. But that's how all this is about: greed and money. And we have been suppressed for 400 plus years into believing, into not necessarily believing, but being okay with how things are and just working with it. But it's to the point now where we're beyond exhausted, and a lot of us are enraged. And I don't condone looting, but I understand people who might not have reached the spiritual status that I'm at, still sitting in that rage, because I am enraged, but I don't choose to release my rage that way. But there's people who are still fighting in the pits to this day that don't have control over their rage the way I do. But I truly feel like some type of unfortunate material compensation, such as money, would be something that would put out a fire. I feel like, imagine if you said, okay, America said, okay, we screwed this up 400 for the last 400 years, and we didn't apologize. We didn't do anything to make up for the people who literally built this land from the ground up. We gave them things, we took them away, and then we pretended to accept them in society by making sure that we made laws that would keep them down. And I think at the end of the day, it's time for America to pay its dues. And I think that, to me, that's truly something that will put out a fire. It's taken the next 50 years to switch out the whole office. You know, it seems far, but it's going to take everybody coming together and actually making those changes and deciding on those changes. So it might be far fetched, you know, and maybe it's just me thinking, you know, crazy like I do, but I don't think that changing the president, and they're all crooks at the end of the day, you know what I mean, is going to be something to put out the fire that we have going on right now. But if you know, give back and come out and, you know, apologize and take responsibility for what has taken place over the last 400 years, and give people an opportunity, you know, like I said, it may be crazy, but who would have any more excuses? You know, in my opinion, you know, if you gave every Black American over the age of 16 who's been dealing with this for a very long time, you know, 50 grand, like I said, in the acres, or, you know, you don't want the acres, take the 80 grand, there would be no more excuses. There would be no more, I don't have the resources to make something of myself. And I think when you eliminate those excuses, then that helps the problem. Because right now, that's the Black community's excuse. We don't have the financial resources to put ourselves in the positions we need to be successful. So might be far fetched, but I truly believe that would put out a fire.
You know, I think that that's valid. Actually, I I mean, I personally am for defunding the police and redistributing that cash. And I know it's not exactly the same, but I think the same can be done with taking funds from the government and redistributing that to Black communities that deserve it, that have been owed that money.
I mean, for a long time, you know, and like, you know, we didn't directly deal with slavery the way our ancestors did, but I think the way it's done now, it's so manipulative that it's, you know, it's in a sense, you know, not worse. Nothing's worse than getting beaten and stepped on and spit on every day. You know, I'm not trying to say that, you know, what we deal with now is worse than what they deal with, but we've been fooled for a long time, and people are waking up now, and they're waking up mad.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for everything, for sharing and having this conversation with us. All right. Well, thanks for, again, thank you so much.
Yeah,
so
you're
cool.
welcome. I mean, I hope that I said something impactful, and some, you know, and someone, you know, take something from it.
Yeah, you certainly did. I mean, I'm listening to you. Great words, man. Great stuff. But um, I will not be a stranger. And
Don't.
I will let you know about all of this and when it goes up and stuff and things like that.
Absolutely. Just let me know. You know how to get in touch with me.
For sure. All right. Thank you again. And I will talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you.
Have a good one.